Welcome everyone to Cisco Canada's Virtual Kitchen special edition today. Before we get started, though, I'm going to do my first land acknowledgement today, and I think it's so important and um, so relevant to today because it's National Indigenous Peoples Day, and we're so happy to celebrate it. But first, I'd like to acknowledge that I am personally right now in Edmonton, where I am located on Treaty 6 territory, traditional land of the Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continue to enrich our vibrant community. And I'm just honored to have Chef Patrick today be a part of this. And what a special day it is, and what a great day to celebrate Indigenous culture and this beautiful culture that we have in Canada. So welcome, Chef.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right. So what are we going to do today, Chef, to celebrate this beautiful day?
Well, first off, I got my orange shirt on. So I'm wearing the apron so that I don't soil or stain it, but got to represent the orange. Second, I will do my own quick acknowledgement. I'm actually a proud member of the Lackamal First Nation, which is a band that is based in the Stolo Nation in BC, and I'm lucky enough to live very close to their traditional land, so about 10 minutes away in Mission. So that's where I'm coming from. And today we're just going to build a fairly simple, a fairly simple appetizer dish utilizing pretty much all ingredients that you could either harvest, forage, catch, or grow in BC.
Awesome.
So
I'm excited to your cooking and the ability to educate us on the cuisine that Indigenous people have used and still use is incredible,
mm-hmm.
Chef. So just thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm proud to do it. And I think I mentioned last time for anyone watching that this is an area of cuisine that I'm just really pushing myself to explore more in the last couple of years. So it's a good give and take learning curve for both of us, because as I get lots of ingredients that I've used lots in the past, but learning new techniques of cooking, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. So
awesome.
Where do we want to start? Let's start with the seafood. So we're going to be doing scallops today. These specific scallops are actually Japanese Hokkaido scallops. They are a Pacific scallop, but unfortunately I'm not close enough to the water to be harvesting any BC, but we do grow scallops here. They do grow wild, usually a few smaller species. Pink scallops are one of them. They have a beautiful shell. When I was a couple members of my family lived in Egmont, and we used to go up there on the Sunshine Coast as kids, and we get to look for scallops in the sand. And occasionally we'd go up and they've already done a big harvest, and we get to eat them. They're a lot smaller than these. What I wanted to do today was sort of do a fusion of natural ingredients with sort of a more high-end gourmet dish. So I went with the Hokkaido scallop. Second up, my little cup here, we have a piece of BC steelhead, which for anyone who knows is basically a rainbow trout that goes out to the ocean like a salmon. So it's kind of the hybrid there. With the steelhead there, and Jay will have the pictures to post, I believe, but I actually resorted back to kind of the oldest of traditions and cooked it on a piece of wood over a fire. So something I haven't really done much of. I've cooked lots on a fire, but not the old Boy Scout way, if you want to call it that, of sticking a stick in the ground and tying your salmon to it. So it's a pretty cool technique. Definitely something that you need to learn to master. It's I don't think it necessarily works. You have to work on your angles and whatnot, but it turned out great. The flavor's awesome. This guy here, actually, let's come back to that. So I have some rainbow kale here. Kale, rainbow and Tuscan kale, it comes technically from Italy, so it's not local, but it is something that flourishes and grows really well here. So I wanted to include like a farmed aspect of something that you can incorporate. We have some nice local flower petals to pretty up the plate at the end. And then this guy here is actually a nettle foam that I've made. So I have a piece right here
that I'm blown away.
Grabbed about 20 minutes ago behind my fence. So I'm lucky enough to have a large patch. Lucky, I don't know if you call it lucky, but a large patch of stinging nettle right behind my house. So you don't want to walk through it in shorts, that's for sure. But it does make a really good soup or sauce. Or in this case, I've never done this before, but I thought I would try a foam. So
Very cool.
um, yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, stinging nettle grows a lot over the world. It grows in Europe as well, quite abundantly. Um, they've harvested it for years as well, but it does grow on the west coast especially well. The leaves are what you eat. Both the leaves and the stems have stinging abilities, so you can. It's not a terrible feeling, I would say, but
Mhm.
not pleasant either. But I think it's something that's good to understand what it does, and the same toxin that it uses to sting you when it's cooked down, it actually has remarkable health benefits. So very good at detoxing your body. A lot of people traditionally use it for inflammation,
Oh, really?
and yeah, they make teas out of it or soups, like I said. But pretty similar to any other leafy green vegetable. You want to soak in water first. That helps reduce some of the stinging, softens it up. Then you pull your leaves off, you blanch them in boiling water, you shock them in ice water. From that point, you basically are ready to do whatever you want with it. So you could do a nettle saute, you could make a soup. Again, you can make tea with it. So yeah, it's a pretty versatile, abundant, sustainable plant. So that's that.
Okay. I think it's awesome.
I think what we'll do is, do you want to keep talking as I cook, or do you have a commercial, or I don't know what you want to do?
No, keep going. This is
All
all
right.
you. You've
Okay.
got the
So
floor.
let's fire up our pan here. High heat again. I've removed my close proximity smoke detector so that we don't have any uninterrupted noise here. So what I'm going to do with the scallops is just a straight pan sear, nice and simple. I'm a I'm a simple chef at heart. I like minimal ingredients that taste good. So just a little bit of oil in that pan. Probably hard to see on the camera there, but just get the smoking point there. So um, like anything you're going to sear, you definitely want it to be hot heat at least at first. It helps prevent that sticking there. So I'm going to drop my scallops in here, and then we're going to turn that heat down. Just going to flip this fan on for a second. I'll see if it's too noisy. Is that a little loud there, Jay? Or
No, it sounds great. It sounds
okay,
great.
just helpful. So with those scallops cooking, that's um, when you have a scallop. I should have left one on. I didn't, but normally when you buy them, they come with a muscle right on the side called the adductor muscle, and it's a super chewy piece. So you definitely want to make sure that you pull that off
Hmm.
anytime you're using them. It's very clear what it is, though. It's very easy to see. It's usually a much uh, more bright white as opposed to that kind of translucent color.
I think do people typically overcook scallop, chef?
Yes, I was actually going to talk to that. So um, preferably, I'd say traditionally in Western culture, a lot of times, when people who don't maybe eat scallops, they're an expensive ingredient, right? So they're not on everybody's shopping list every week, and so I think when they do have them, what people picture is the bacon wrap scallop, right? And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
been a staple of our Western culture. Get jump in here. So I don't know if you want to swap screens there for me, but we're just gonna swap that or flip them over there. You can see the nice gold color, the nice browning caramelization there. Let's swap them back over here. So yeah, with scallops again, they're expensive, and we're so used to that just tiny little, you know, nickel-sized scallop that's wrapped in a piece of bacon, and the bacon keeps it moist, and it's obviously a great flavor. I mean, bacon with anything usually makes it better, but when when you talk kind of the bigger size scallops, these are U15s, which means that there's less than 15 per pound. So they obviously they're a significantly larger size, and that is probably to your point, the most critical mistake is overcooking them. They get rubbery, they get chewy like any seafood. So you really want to target like kind of a medium, maybe a medium well, depending on what your preference is. I'm just gonna drop my rainbow kale in another pan here.
So, chef,
Yes, sir.
a lot of people don't know a lot about indigenous cuisine, especially in Canada. Like we're in it, like even
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Um, is there things that they can do to learn more about it, right, other than Googling it? Like, is there restaurants out there that
Well, I
are?
think there's, uh, the nice thing is that it's becoming more mainstream, and I actually talked about this on a panel on Friday that it's becoming more mainstream for probably the wrong. Well, it's good that it's becoming mainstream. It's a shame that it
Mhm,
took so long to be talked.
mhm,
So, really, most of the reason that we're talking about it now is because of the residential school thing that we've all of a sudden has been again
mhm.
thrust into the limelight. It's no different than any other major issue. It's been going on for years, and those who know, but now it's unfortunately more people understand what happened. And I think what's happened with indigenous cuisine is we lost a large generation of people, right, that
Mhm.
were assimilated, and therefore they didn't grow up with their traditions, so they couldn't pass them on.
So was
So
that so with that horrible time in our history? Not only did this culture, get devastated in a sense, but the definitely I never thought of that. But you're absolutely right. The cuisine did as well.
yeah, there's so many aspects, right? Like I was reading an article the other day about a couple of brothers um who went to a residential school, and their sister as well, and uh, they were old enough when they went that they had learned some tradition as young boys.
Hmm.
She was really young when she went, so she didn't know anything. So she had to relearn everything. She's like, she basically ended up married to a Caucasian man and lives in the States. And for all intents and purposes, she basically the goal was achieved, right? of,
Hmm.
of what they intended to do. The article was about how she's got back in touch with her brothers and her family that she like resented for so long because she didn't know why things happened the way they did. And and but now she's since I guess reassimilated herself back into native culture, which is pretty cool, and learned all about it. Going back to your original question, uh, there is, because indigenous cuisine is such a vague, ambiguous term. It's not like Tex-Mex or Creole or Cajun or something, right? Those are very
Hmm.
defined characteristics. Indigenous, because it spreads all over North America, it really is the local aspect, the sustainable, use all the animal, get it out of your own backyard, whether that means from a farm or from your own backyard or whatever, right? Or from the ocean, and just respect what you're harvesting. And that goes back to using it all, right? But uh, the internet actually has some fairly good websites now. If you look it up,
Hmm.
there's lots to be found on there. I'm also starting to see things. I saw this pop up actually at Superstore of all places
Oh wow.
in their aisle. It's $5. It's not a super in-depth book, but it does talk a little bit. But I grabbed it just because I thought it was cool. And so
Very
First
cool.
Nations recipes, yeah. So uh, the other big thing to do is just ask questions. Like if you don't know,
Hmm.
ask, right? I think my contact info is out there, so you're always welcome to see what I know. Although I'm by far not the know all and be all of it, but I think that's important to understand, just learning together, right? So
Well, the thing I have to say here, Chef, is that you know I believe things like align for certain reasons, right? And I think when you look at indigenous cooking and cuisine, um, if you're been like I've been in the industry so long in the culinary for so long, is the beauty of what we're trying to replicate right now in cuisine itself if people leaned into indigenous cooking, you would see the beauty is right there, because it's everything that we're trying to do already that was done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago,
Yeah.
with sustainable practices, beautiful, it's lots and lots of earth foods, right? Like vegetables, and it's incredible. And if we just lean over and learn more about this beautiful cuisine,
Yeah.
um, I think people would be like, well, this is what we're trying to replicate already in the plant-based movement, in the veganism, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure. Like
yeah.
that's, I always find that full vegan, I'll never judge someone for choosing their own diets or
Hmm.
whatever, but when you look at it, it's like if you look at the primary ingredients that are used in veganism, a lot of the times are the high cost ingredients. You have cashews. Well, they're not local. They get flown halfway around the
Hmm.
world, right? Uh, Avocados, they're not local. They get flown halfway around the world. Asparagus, all
Hmm.
these things, and then what we're doing is, I understand that the carbon footprint of that is still significantly lower than a mass beef farm,
Hmm.
but that's the conversation we have to have. That if you had an indigenous tribe that killed a moose, for example,
Yeah.
that moose would be picked clean and it would feed several people, or probably 100 people.
Hmm.
Like moose are big, right? But point is, and then you go down to especially like the U.S. beef industry and some of the maybe less ethical farming practices,
Hmm.
and we have this picture of this like Texas 24-ounce steak being put on a plate, and it's like there's no reason that one guy needs to eat 24 ounces. It's
Hmm.
just it's just not a thing, right? Like, and so it does all tie together to all these goals that we have environmentally and climate wise.
Yeah.
That if we look at how they've been doing it for years, like it's okay to eat meat. That's my personal
Yeah.
opinion. But it should be done more ethically, and you
Yeah.
should be conscious of how many people you can feed and not wasting many parts of that animal, right? So
You look at indigenous cuisine itself, and you look at all the different dishes that people can create or people can learn more about. It's got to have a lot of amazing flavors because of the spices that go into it and the different ingredients that go into it. The flavor profiles have got to be incredibly huge. Like,
yeah, for sure. There's lots of just, and again, that's kind of part of the reason I like to keep it simple is because all these ingredients have their own flavor
yeah.
that comes through, right? And if you muddy up the dish with too much stuff, all of a sudden you've lost one or you've masked it, right? But if you're gonna pay for scallops uh, this size and this good, cook them well and make them the star of the show, right? I
Hmm.
didn't put anything on them. I put a little salt and pepper, but I want to taste the scallop. And
Yeah.
in the metal foam, there's just a little bit of onion with the puree and then some salt and pepper because I want to taste the nettle come through, right? So
Very
why don't
cool.
we plate it up and
All right. I won't bug you.
oh, we can talk. We're not doing anything
I
too
I
complex.
just I look at it and I'm like, here's an area that we really don't understand. Well, we never, I wouldn't say understand, but we just really didn't learn a lot about growing up. And to
For
learn it
sure.
now, it's incredible. It's beautiful. It's absolutely breathtaking. And yeah, we got to learn more about it. We really do.
So I'm just kind of filled the plate here while you watch. So I just kind of threw a little
Yeah.
bit of rainbow kale on the bottom there just to,
I'm going to camera B.
okay, sounds good. I'm actually going to keep my steelhead that I cooked cold. Reason being, I don't want to, I probably went a little long yesterday on the fire. I don't want to overcook it by heating it back up. But it
Mhm.
also took on a really kind of hybrid flavor of like a cold smoked salmon and a hot smoke. So I don't think that it needs to necessarily be heated up. I think it's more of a garnish in this aspect.
Okay. I'm going to try to post it now. We're going to try something different here. I'm going to try to post pictures onto our live stream show today. All right.
Flowers here. And then I just have a little cayenne extra virgin olive oil. And I used a little bit just to finish off the kale. You don't want to necessarily cook with a really nice extra virgin oil because the smoke point's too low. So it'll start smoking before your pan's hot enough to really do what you want to do. But it is obviously great flavor to finish off a saute like that. So pretty simple little appetizer dish. There we go.
And that's the foam?
That's the foam, yeah.
Cool.
So a few different ways to make foam. This one's probably a more, what do I say? It's an easier way to make a foam for a restaurant that maybe wants to elevate their game a little. If you get into the molecular gastronomy, there's lots of different additives you can use to make foams. This one is literally just whipped cream, basically. So basically just whipped cream, obviously without the sugar. And then I made a nettle puree with the onion. And then I just strained out most of the liquid out of that. So I just got the nettle color. And then I folded it into the foam there. So
very cool, Chef.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's all I got for you, unless you got any more questions or anything you want to chat about. I guess we're almost at time here anyway, so.
Yeah, no, that's great, Chef. Thank you again for today.
Yeah, no problem.
Sharing with us a quick little idea here and to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. And
yeah,
awesome stuff.
Proud to be here. Thanks for having me. Hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Excellent. Well, thanks again, Chef. And for everyone else, tune in tomorrow and on Wednesday. We have more SVK shows coming up. And then we're going to take a little break for a few weeks. And then we'll be back with season 2. But thanks again, Chef, and have a great Indigenous Peoples Day today as well.
Thank you. I will. You too.
All right. Take care.